You mentioned the coronavirus, of course, which is the biggest topic right now in the entire globe. So, what are your thoughts on the whole pandemic, and what do you expect going forward?
I mean, obviously it's unfortunate, but I mean, I feel like the crisis could have certainly been handled much differently and much more effectively.
I agree.
It's been a crisis of leadership on both fronts. I mean, obviously Trump's disastrous, but what's new?
Exactly.
But it's corporate Democrats who I feel like have failed us in a lot of ways.
I agree.
It's the whole political establishment in D.C. And you're talking about this bailout fund, and dude, like the economy is crumbling as we speak. I mean, this is the fact of the matter. Unemployment numbers were released Thursday. 3.3 million unemployment claims.
Insane, man.
It shattered records. I mean, you're talking about the head of the St. Louis Fed predicting 30% unemployment. This is what we're heading towards, like Great Depression level numbers. And for our government to simply fold as usual, cater to corporate interests. I mean, like, what's new? $4.25 trillion in bailout money for huge corporations with little strings attached, and for the workers, we get cookie crumbs.
No, I totally agree. I mean, and if you look at that atrocity of a stimulus package, which is pretty similar to the 2008 one, you see, I mean, it's like you said, $4.5 trillion in bailouts for large corporations, and only in comparison a meager $350 billion bailout for small businesses, which are really the ones who are getting crushed by this crisis. And the thing is, these corporations who are receiving most of the benefits, they probably don't even need the money. But let's assume they did. Let's say, no, we still need the money for some reason. I mean, even if they do, that's an indictment against them, because that means they didn't do anything with the tax cut. And what we said was going to happen, happened. So, it's just terrible all across the board. And also, you see, almost all of the loan restrictions are for the small businesses.
Right.
The large corporations don't have almost any restrictions at all with what to do with the money. They basically just get a slap in the wrist. I mean, the only restriction I saw is that they can't, engage in stock buybacks for like a year. But that's just 1 year. Then we return to the same exact problem.
Exactly. And guess who's divvying up the money? Of course, we have Steve Mnuchin and Trump's.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Like again, I'm not surprised. Like, everybody is in total outrage, and as they should be, but I'm not surprised by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh, no, me neither. Yeah.
This is the system that we voted for. This is the system that we've helped create. I mean, you're talking about, it's not capitalism, it's corporatism.
Exactly.
It's corporate socialism. You are giving to the corporations and taking from the working class. That's what it is. So in the biggest economic crisis we've had in nearly 100 years, working people get yet another middle finger, get cookie crumbs of benefits. One-time payment of $1,200. Like, what is that? What is that?
And not only that, Drake. It is literally for most people who don't have deposits with the direct deposits with the IRS. We have to wait 4 months to receive the direct payment.
Lower income people, anyone who doesn't have a bank account on file, they may not have access to this, specifically when they're going to need it the most. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And it's a crisis of the highest levels. And, we're screaming to the rooftops, do something, fix this behavior. But they're not. This is a corrupt system. They are beholden to their donors, and they're not going to stop being beholden. We're going to have to be the ones who get them out of office.
I totally agree. And not just that. It's just fake. It's even worse than that. I mean, one of the things it fails to address, it literally does not ensure healthcare for those who have coronavirus. That's like the bare minimum. We need Medicare for all. But at the bare minimum, you could have had like Medicare for all who have coronavirus. And not even that. Not even that. So you're going to have people who are going to get sick. They're going to get bankrupt. And it's just going to add to all of these problems. The direct check is not going to come until 4 months from now. They're not going to be able to, pay their rent, which, by the way, is going to be a huge catastrophe. Like, you're going to see a bunch of people not even people, like, even small businesses not even being able to pay that. And, this is just going to keep going, and it will, eventually will result in something that could even be worse than the Great Depression, believe it or not, which is just, wow,
Yeah, man. That's what this is. And, and forget about the pandemic and the fact that people are running on ventilators and dying left and right.
Yeah.
And we've just completely mishandled the crisis. Like, if you were really going to try to be serious about the lid on this, they should have implemented these lockdown measures weeks and weeks ago.
I agree.
But now let's get into the points that states are on the same page saying, okay, we can't leave, blah, blah, blah. This should have been done weeks ago.
I agree. I mean, you look at a state like Florida, which is where I live, and they're literally right now doing what they should have done like 3 weeks ago. I mean, I don't know if you saw the videos, like all of these people coming down to Miami for spring break. I mean, insane, and 100% the coronavirus spread a ton in like events like that, and similar events happened in down in New Orleans, Louisiana. And you see it now. It's a new epicenter down there, and the same here in South Florida. And they're doing and I think they're doing things now, but it's too little, too late, And I think it's too late to contain it, too late to stop it. We're gonna have to wait until the summer to do that for us, but it's gonna be 2 grueling months, until we're at that point, and that's unfortunate.
It is. And there's personal impacts across the country. Kids are out of school, myself included. I mean, I'm not complaining too much about that, but it is. It is crazy. Like this is my senior year now. That's affected. Like it's gone.
That's
and
crazy.
For a lot of kids, that sucks. And even for kids of like who are of less privilege, like in the New York school system, for instance, there are like nearly 1 million kids who depended on these public schools for food.
I saw that. Yeah.
It's crazy, man, and it's all because our government is run by a bunch of baboons. Just throwing out baboons, man.
For real, man. They're a bunch of idiots. In both sides of the aisle, by the way. It's not exclusive to one party.
Yeah, we riding. Yeah, we vibing. Bitch, we just live.